Alright everyone, thanks for watching Cheap Shot. Today we got Good Guy with a Gun or Defensive Gun Uses from May 31st to June 2nd. Right here we have our heat map. If we sort by the highest, we have Texas with 53, California 31, Florida 27, and if we do it per capita, Nevada is the highest with 0.36, Alaska 0.27, and North Dakota 0.26. So like I said, we're doing May 31st to June 2nd. We have some that we missed on the 30th, so let's check these out. These are going to be two Twitter links. These will be in the description, of course, with everything else.
He about to let it off. He about to let it off on him. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Apparently this is New York and Minnesota. These are two men who defended businesses using firearms during the various riots. So we're going to count these as defensive gun uses. So that's one in New York and that's one in Minnesota. So New York, 4, Minnesota with 2. Moving on to May 31st. Possible home invasion shooting. The Sheriff's Department reports a male subject has been injured during a possible home invasion. 8:21 p.m. received a report of a male subject being treated for a gunshot wound. During the investigation, they determined that the male had been injured during a possible home invasion. No further information, but that is a defensive gun use for Ohio. Ohio now has 18. This next one is Texas. Whoops. Man shot to death by stepdaughter in apparent self-defense. A shooting in Florida apartment complex may be a case of self-defense, investigators said. This happened at 6:15 a.m. When deputies arrived, they found a 40-year-old man dead from a gunshot wound. They're looking into it as a possible defense shooting. Investigators interviewed the victim's stepdaughter in her 20s and will prevent the case of prosecutors to consider whether charges will be filed. It is unknown what led to the shooting. Well, we're going to have to consider that a defensive gun use if they have reasonable belief that they wouldn't need to take it to the prosecutor to figure out whether or not it was. It's going to be cut and dry. Here's another one in Texas. Man shot, killed after confronting ex-girlfriend in Missouri City home. In Texas, a man was shot and killed after confronting his ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend during a birthday party in her Missouri City home, according to Houston police. The party was for the woman's 20-year-old daughter around 1:30 a.m. Ooh, wasn't this no, this is separate. Around 1:30 a.m., the woman's ex-boyfriend got inside the home, drove and found the couple in the bedroom. He fought with the woman's boyfriend. As she reached for a handgun, he was shot, and police identified the boyfriend as the shooter. So we have another one for Texas, 55. Don't mess with Texas. South Carolina. Hall's Chop House employee fired gunshots when former NFL player was injured by protesters. A Hall's Chop House employee fired a handgun into the air during Saturday night protests when one of the patrons, a former Clemson professional football player, was injured in an altercation with members of the crowd. The popular King Street restaurant was not spared from damage. We don't need to read any of that. By sundown, the buildings have caught on fire. Well, I was just talking about it. Shots were fired during the height of the violence outside of a restaurant. In an effort to protect customers and staff, a Hall's team member drew his licensed concealed firearm and discharged it into the air while other members of the Hall team brought an injured guest inside the restaurant. No one was injured by gunfire. We're going to call this a defensive gun use still. We're kind of stretching with this one, but I think so. 8 for South Carolina. Arizona. Business owner defends store with rifles, handguns during looting. We weren't here to hurt anyone. We weren't here to harm anybody, the store owner's son said. People were inside the store with guns because they heard what had happened at Apple Store earlier and wanted to protect their private property, the store owner's son said. We weren't here to hurt anybody. We weren't here to harm anybody. So it looks like until protesters came to a local jewelry store. All right, so if nothing had happened, we would consider, but it looks like that stopped it. So there's another one for Arizona. Once again, all these links will be down in the description for you to check yourself. Moving on to June 1st, Nebraska, California, Illinois. Man won't be charged in the fatal Omaha protest shooting. The killing of James Spurlock has resonated with people across Metro. Shooter was defending himself. So the shooter was justified in shooting Spurlock at about midnight Saturday. The shooter was identified as Jacob Gardner, owner of Hyde Bar and Gatsby Bar. Prosecutors showed video of a scuffle involving Gardner's dad. Gardner backed up and showed a gun when two people jumped on him. He fired 2 shots and didn't hit anyone, and then Spurlock jumped on his back. That's when Gardner said he was being choked and shot him once in the clavicle. All right, so that's one for Nebraska. Setting Nebraska to 2. Fremont gun shop owner holds man at gunpoint after attempted burglary. 24-year-old admitted he planned to steal guns and was arrested and booked in the jail. Well, don't try and loot and rob a gun store. They're more likely going to have guns in it. 32 for California. And Logan Square shop owner confronts looters, fire guns, detains 1. Decided to stay in his apartment above the store. Awakened by sounds of breaking glass, he grabbed his handgun and rushed to the store downstairs with another person. There he saw a group of men wielding hammers. He told them to stop, and they started surging towards him instead. Shop owner told the police he fired his gun to make the men back away, but didn't know how many shots he fired. Most of the men ran from the store, but owner managed to grab and handcuff one of them. You shoot. Like, if you feel unsafe and you need to shoot your firearm, you shoot until you no longer feel unsafe. Don't count. I mean, if you count, you count. But don't count. Don't think that's too many. You shoot until you are alive, until you feel safe. So, here's one for Illinois. June 2nd, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Oklahoma. Here's another shot and killed in the burglary in a South Philadelphia gun store. You know, I was listening to the police scanner of some of the protests in my area, and the police were specifically on the lookout for whether or not people were heading to gun stores or pawn shops. Police ruled fatal Walmart shooting a case for self-defense. Monday around 2 p.m., man in his mid-60s was shot inside Walmart. Detectives detained a man in his late 50s, self-defense. So not a lot of information, but that's what we got to go on for Georgia. 23 for Georgia. Woman shoots man after he allegedly assaulted her and threatened to set her on fire. Wow. Victim reported that Han, who she previously had a romantic relationship with, had been repeatedly texting her that day. She reportedly felt scared for her safety and took a handgun with her as she was putting diesel fuel in her work vehicle. The victim stated she was approached and subsequently physically assaulted by Han, who hit her with a rock and struck her several times with his fists. The victim said Han then poured diesel fuel on her and threatened to light her on fire. The victim said she tried escaping to her truck, but Han again grabbed her and stated she feared for her life, pulled her handgun, and shot Han. The victim then used Han's cellular phone 911 to call the incident. Han is currently in stable condition in the hospital. Crazy stuff. Set you on fire. I think this is the first case of somebody threatening to set another person on fire that we've had. Texas and Pennsylvania. Deadly shooting in which a suspected armed robber was one killed. Pretty straightforward. That's in Texas. Once again, we're not messing with Texas. And Pennsylvania. Intruder shot, killed after confrontation with homeowner. 70-year-old man and 62-year-old woman who lived there called 911 for reported deadly home invasion. When officers got there, they found the 38-year-old man dead on the sidewalk outside the apartment. They confronted the homeowner outside. Investigators determined their investigation. The homeowner went back into the apartment. Police said he followed him into the property. That's when police said the homeowner grabbed a gun and shot him at least 3 times. Fingerman finally tried running from the home before he collapsed outside and passed away. Pennsylvania. I really need to learn my alphabet. And New Jersey, Mississippi, just 4 more. Garfield man shot in self-defense during alleged domestic abuse, prosecutor said. Police were called to the home where discovered Lawson, who had been shot in self-defense by one of the occupants. No other information. So there is New Jersey. Whoops. Georgia. Man shoots, kills dog in West Jackson. A man shot a dog twice after the dog had been behaving aggressively at the family member's house. The dog reportedly growled at a woman and her son and approached them aggressively. I mean, not a lot to go on, but that's what we got. Georgia, 24. And another Pennsylvania. Man shoots dog. Oh, I guess I have the same link for that. Well, we'll wrap that up tonight. So what do we see here? We still have Texas, California, Florida, and we still have Nevada, Alaska, and North Dakota. As we can see, we're pretty spread out. Nothing for Idaho so far, or Vermont, or Rhode Island. So if you have any, or Delaware, if you have any, because people are going to be mad that I put DC and Maryland. If you have any defensive gun uses in these states that you know about, please leave them in the comments below. Please like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Have a good night.